So guys, that's the blueprint right there. That's how you're going to get to your $10 Cardano. What's up guys? Welcome back to DCA. So what we're going to do today is take a look at Cardano. We're going to look at the price with relation to Bitcoin and see if we can make any predictions about where we're going. So with that said guys, let's jump on in. Okay guys, so what we're looking at here is the price of Bitcoin since 2017, late in 2017 during the end of the bull market, as well as the ADABTC valuation, specifically as it relates to the 20-week moving average. So you can see in green indicates that Bitcoin is above the 20-week moving average. And then in red is when Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average. So this is ADABTC as Bitcoin is above, ADABTC as Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average. So the first thing you'll notice right off the bat, when Bitcoin is below its 20-week moving average, ADA and all altcoins for that matter get absolutely wrecked. Okay. So if you drop down one line, so Cardano Bitcoin valuation is on the primary y-axis. Bitcoin price is on the secondary y-axis. So the thing you can see, Bitcoin falling in price as it drops below the 20-week moving average, that's when your altcoins are really going to get hammered. Let's pretend Cardano were $1 and it drops down one line. That would be the equivalent to Cardano falling from $1 USD down to 50 cents. You can see in 2017, when Bitcoin started dropping in price, Cardano really started to tank. It dropped one 50% level, then another 50% level, and then another, and then got halfway down another. That's why we say that Bitcoin is your hedge against risk in the crypto asset class. It's your hedge against volatility. Bitcoin is still volatile in and of itself, but it's the least volatile. Okay? So that's why you always want to have a position in Bitcoin. And now I'm going to show you why if you really want to maximize your profits, if you really want to maximize how many altcoins you're able to acquire, I'm going to show you why you really want a position in Bitcoin and how you can use it to increase your position in those altcoins. So critically, when Bitcoin goes above the 20-week moving average, so that would be a move from the red line to the green line. This is where traditionally the market is in a bull run, or is at least showing bullish strength. It might not always get into a bull run immediately. As you can see, back in 2019, we got above the 20-week moving average, and in fact did go up in price, but it was short-lived relatively. Even in that time, because the market wanted to see if there's going to be continued strength and people weren't just ready to jump into altcoins at that time, in that time, Cardano went from around a valuation of, we'll call it 20,000, down to around 5,000. So in that time, Cardano went from around 20,000. You can see between 12 and 24, this is where we were, around 20,000 down to around 4.5. During this time, Cardano with relation to Bitcoin, okay, dropped 4.5 or 5 times its valuation with relation to Bitcoin. That doesn't always mean the price is going down. You can have the price go up, but still bleed in terms of the Cardano Bitcoin valuation. We came and dropped back below, as you know, late 2019, we dropped back below, and because the market just needed more time. We weren't ready to go on a full out bull run yet. We got back above towards the beginning of 2020, had the COVID capitulation event, and from there, Bitcoin was able to get back above in late April, early May of 2020. And from that time, went on its run. Once we started going up, we got right above the 20-week here. You can see Cardano was able to, go on a short-lived run, but critically, the market then started to really take off for Bitcoin. Okay. And what happened then when Bitcoin was going on its massive run from a low of around 3,500 up to near 40,000? So over a 10x gain. What happened to Cardano during that time? Cardano was bleeding from around 12 down to around 5. So basically, the market is waiting to see strength from Bitcoin. And we've seen this many times before. Bitcoin goes above its 20-week moving average. Then Cardano starts to bleed with relation to Bitcoin and actually ends up at around right at this level, which is where it was prior to Bitcoin going above its 20-week moving average. There was this short period where it started to gain against Bitcoin, but once Bitcoin really went parabolic and started to fly up from 3,500 up towards its price of $40,000, Cardano was bleeding with relation to Bitcoin. So it bottomed out at around this 55 level right in here. Then when Bitcoin, and this is the key thing I want to show you guys. So when Bitcoin corrected, okay, so it got up towards the $40,000 level, people started to take their profits from Bitcoin because they just went up 10x, right? They just went from 3,500 up to $40,000. So they start to take some profits. It doesn't mean they're selling all their Bitcoin. It means they're selling some of it and moving it into altcoins. And so you can see right when Bitcoin hits its peak, that's when Cardano starts to move because this money is coming out of Bitcoin and it's moving into the altcoins like Cardano. So Cardano then starts to go on its run. Then Bitcoin has another small correction here and starts its run up to $64,000. While it's doing that, Cardano is moving down or sideways. Then when we hit 63.5 or $64,000, Bitcoin corrects, that money moves out of Bitcoin and then comes over into the altcoins, into Cardano. That's how we get our $2.20 Cardano back in May. Okay. So then obviously mid-May comes, Bitcoin crashes below its 20-week moving average. Cardano starts to bleed, Bitcoin bleeds. This is, a known property. Okay, we've shown how this happens. Then we get above our 20-week moving average. Now you guys will see, look how much Bitcoin has moved in that time. We went from 30,000 up to 50,000. And in that same amount of time, Cardano has lost valuation with respect to Bitcoin from its peak anyway. While Bitcoin is going parabolic, while it's making these massive runs, Cardano and the other big altcoins, they will not move up as much. So the way to approach this, you want to have a strong position in Bitcoin, particularly when we've just got above the 20-week moving average. As we demonstrated, when we're above the 20-week, that's when Bitcoin is going to be the star of the show. Once we just get above it, once we're starting a new leg of a bull run, Bitcoin is going to be the star of the show. Then once it starts to go on a parabolic run, guys, that's when you start slowly selling some of your Bitcoin position and moving it into altcoins. So this is how you can acquire more, moving out of your Bitcoin position into altcoin positions. You don't want to do it all at once. You want to be slowly doing it, taking profits along the way, small amounts of profit along the way, and moving it into the altcoins from your Bitcoin position. Okay, guys, so now we're going to look at where we might be going this market cycle. And to do this, we're going to look at the ADA BTC valuation. And I'm going to show you guys how right now we are in this sort of ascending channel, and we've been in this channel since June of last year. So in June, we came up and we hit this 1500 level. We lost pace with relation to Bitcoin. Remember, this is what we said all the way until January. We lost pace with respect to Bitcoin. Then in January, we started to move up. We moved up until February. Then during this time, this is when Bitcoin made that small correction coming, from 3,000 up to 40 and then back down. And that money comes in to Cardano. We then correct with Cardano BTC. So then we lose valuation with respect to Bitcoin as Bitcoin then goes on another leg of the run. We move sideways, down, and then sideways. And then around May is when we're really able to take off as people are selling Bitcoin when it hits that $64,000 level. And that's when we're hitting our $2.20 Cardano. So we hit this upper limb and then we come back down through July and August. At the beginning of August, Bitcoin, what happens? Bitcoin goes above its 20-week moving average and we come up. This is when we hit our $3 Cardano. Okay. And we hit the upper end of this channel. From there, Alonzo Purple was released. We actually made a video on September 9th and discussed how we did not expect the release of smart contracts for Cardano with Alonzo Purple to be a short-term bullish signal for Cardano. And that's because we analyzed the historical trends of Cardano following major upgrades to the network. We demonstrated these typically actually result in Cardano dropping in price in the short term. And that's because the market wants to see what these upgrades will lead to. Who is going to be using the smart contracts? What will the use cases be? What dApps are going to be developed on the network? We said in that video, we expected the price of Cardano to drop in the short term. And as we said, we went from a price of around $2.60 on the day we made the video down to the low $2 end. And now we're towards $2.30. So we said in the very short term, 30, 60 days, we don't expect Cardano to make any massive price runs. In fact, we expect a small drop in price based on historical trends. That leads us to where we are now. Well, Bitcoin is going from 30,000 up to 55,000. And now it's sort of taken a small pause just for a day or two, and we'll have to see what happens. We said we expect Cardano to not go on any parabolic run while Bitcoin is going on its own run, because Bitcoin will be the star of the show during this time. So we're not going to expect Cardano to go on any wild parabolic run based on how the market works. We've seen numerous examples of this. When Bitcoin is at a new leg in the market cycle and trending upwards, altcoins do not tend to go on a large run. It brings up the question, where do we think we can go though during this market cycle? And I think to answer that, we need to go back and look at the prior all-time high. So this is the prior all-time high close right at around 76.20. Okay. This market cycle, our high has been at around 6,000. So we've dropped all the way down now to around 4,200. Okay. So we're currently sitting at around 4,200. So the question we ask ourselves is, will we continue back up in this channel? And I do believe that we will. I think eventually we might, for some time, trend sideways in this channel, but I think we'll come back up into this channel, approaching our previous all-time high, which is around 76. Okay, so with that information, guys, we can then start to make some calculations as to where we might end up with Cardano this market cycle. You have to consider the market cap anytime, you're speculating as to where the market cycle may take us. And that's because this is the ultimate determinant. It's why you constantly see these, people on YouTube calling for $10 Dogecoin or whatever. It doesn't make sense because the math doesn't work, right? It Unless you think that Dogecoin is going to be worth more than Bitcoin is, what you're saying doesn't make sense. So you have to consider the market cap. With that said, we can start to speculate as to where we think the ADABTC valuation can go. And with that, we can then calculate based on various prices of Bitcoin, where that would put us. Okay, where that would put our ADA USD valuation. So the number one thing you have to remember is this is all centered around the market cap. $72 billion is our current market cap. Around 450 is our Ethereum market cap, and around 1 trillion is our BTC market cap. So guys, any calculation we make, any speculation we make has to fall within the realm of possibility, okay? $72 billion is where we're at. We're not going up to $2 trillion ADA within all likelihood, okay? It's not going to be worth double the value of Bitcoin currently, this market cycle. It's not to say it can't happen in the future. It's to say it's likely not going to happen this market cycle. So what we do is we look at, here are our various ADA BTC valuations. We're currently at 413. We reached 600 during this market cycle. The all-time high is 760. And then we start to speculate as to where it might go. Could Cardano feasibly double our prior all-time high with respect to Bitcoin? Possibly. I think it to be unlikely, but it's within the realm of possibility. I tend to think that 800, 1,000, somewhere in that range is likely more feasible. Even reaching maybe our prior all-time high might end up being where we top out at this market cycle. So we have to give ourselves a margin of error. We have to give ourselves a margin of error. You never want to be deterministic. You never want to say this is definitively going to happen. You want to understand what the market might give you and act accordingly. Okay, so this is where we're at now. Now, this shows various Bitcoin prices. Now, remember, if Bitcoin continues up to these prices, it's likely that Cardano will either move sideways at first, move sideways, or possibly even down. But eventually it will move up. And so that's what we're saying here. We want to know, once Cardano moves up with relation to Bitcoin, where might we get to? So if we stayed where we're at right now and Bitcoin went to 64,000, that would put Cardano at a 264 valuation. Up to 413 if we hit $100,000. Now, these are just sort of prices I'm throwing out there, sort of price markers that people will be looking for with Bitcoin. It could go higher than 100,000. I don't know. But these are sort of where we're going to hit major price milestones, okay? I think if we're hitting these, though, we'll be higher than where we're at right now. This will eventually move up. So let's say we hit the local high ADABTC valuation. That will put us somewhere between $384 to $6. If we hit our prior high, that will give us 450 up to around 750. Okay. Then we start to get speculative because we haven't hit these ADABTC valuations before, at least not on a close. We've wicked up to 8, but we have never closed above the 800 level. So $5 to $8 if we're able to reach these prices and this ADABTC valuation. So I personally tend to feel like we are going to, as the market cycle comes to a top, and I'm not going to say that we're going to stay in this channel necessarily because I don't know that we will. So let's say we stayed in this channel, you could then see something like this. And now this is, obviously pure speculation at this point. But if we ended up at around somewhere here at around the 10 level, it's all going to depend where Bitcoin is. So is Bitcoin, did we hit these epic highs that people talk about of 250,000? That'll put us off this scale. Or did we hit a more conservative 100,000? So that could lead us to, in this market cycle, a $10 ADA. That's how you get to your $10 ADA. It's going to take Bitcoin to demonstrate strength, hitting new all-time highs, going to these higher valuations, and it's going to take Cardano to continue to show strength and set a new all-time high with respect to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin hits 100,000 and we can't get above this prior all-time high, then we'll still only be at 760. Now I say only, that's, almost tripling in price from, it's over tripling in price from where we're at right now, but that's where we will be. So it's all going to depend on how high Bitcoin can go. That's going to be your primary determinant. How high Bitcoin goes will determine how high Cardano goes. So if you're extraordinarily bullish on Bitcoin and you think $200,000 is in the cards, then you can start to look at these numbers and, estimate where you think we would be. I believe that we're going to end up this market cycle somewhere between a 750, somewhere up to maybe $11. I tend to be more conservative personally, and I'll be out of the market well before it hits $10 because I'm not trying to extract every single penny. I think you're setting yourself up for getting wrecked by doing that. So I'll be DCAing into Cardano as the market cycle continues by selling my Bitcoin positions, selling them into Cardano, selling them into some of the other altcoins. And then as this continues to move up, as we start approaching these higher ADABTC valuations, I'll then be slowly DCAing out of Cardano and into probably US dollars or stable coins, and using DeFi to continue making profits even as I expect the market to head towards a downtrend. So that's how I'm approaching Cardano, and that's how I see us getting to $10. It's going to take around $100,000 Bitcoin, 100,000 or more. That's sort of the blueprint, guys. That's what we need to do. So I think that's it for this one, guys. If you guys like this type of content, hit like and subscribe. Go ahead and slap that notification bell for these time-sensitive notifications. And as usual, I appreciate you guys. And until next time, see ya!